mentioned before, for our Facebook Live audience, feel free to join in, comment, and let us know how you feel about this. Max Barr is waiting.
Waiting for your questions. Ask away.
So, okay, let's get into our 3-on-3 questions as the clock ticks down. The first one, we're doing kind of a prediction. Let's get ready for the season. This is our last chance to do this before the regular season gets popping next week. So we start with our first one, which is, what is the one thing from the Blazers' preseason performance that you believe will translate to the regular season? We'll open this one up to Nate.
I think the continuity this team showed, especially when you had the lineup of Nurkic, Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Harkless, C.J. McCollum, Damian Lillard. Those five played extremely well together this preseason. I don't know if there's really even a doubt that will probably be the starting lineup going into the first day of the season. And I think that will translate over to the regular season. These guys have played with each other before. They're familiar with each other's games, as opposed to the rest of the Western Conference, where you got a lot of new pieces, a lot of great players coming over, but a lot of new pieces. And as we've seen with these kind of super teams in the past, you know, it takes some time before they find their footing and really take off. And I think the Blazers can take advantage of that, because I think the Blazers have their footing. They showed that this preseason. They went 4-1, and if you take away, you know, a meltdown with a bunch of reserves on the floor in the first game, they were undefeated this preseason. So I think that continuity is something we'll see translate.
That's great, and I agree with you. I think that will be the starting lineup on opening night. For me, the big question when Allen Crabbe got traded was, how are the Blazers going to make up the three-point shooting? And that question was asked of Coach Stotts at Media Day. And Stotts said he wasn't worried about it. He said the three-pointers are going to be there. And you look at Stotts' offenses over the years, the three-pointers have always been there. And so what has been interesting to see during this preseason is that of all the good teams out there with great three-point shooters, the Portland Trail Blazers led the NBA in three-point shooting during the preseason. They shot almost 42%. Right behind them was the Rockets. What was interesting when I was looking at the stats is the Blazers shot about 42% on 27 attempts. The Rockets shot 40, just a titch under that, but they took almost like something like 57 three-pointers a game or something. It was crazy. So I think that the three-pointers are going to be there. You've seen, obviously CJ and Dame are still shooting great from distance, but Harkless is shooting 38%. He shot 35% last year. Maybe that improvement that he showed last year is real, and he's just going to become a very reliable three-point shooter. You've got Pat Connaughton, and I think has played his way into a spot in the rotation off the bench. He's shooting almost 40%. We forget sometimes that Connaughton shot better than 50% last season. I mean, he didn't play a lot, but when he did play, he hit those shots. Even Evan Turner shot 50% in preseason. The thing I like about what Turner's doing is he's being more selective with his shot, with his shot choice. He's only averaging about 1 3-point attempt per game. Last season he averaged more than 2, and I think that's what he has to do to be successful in this offense, is pick smart shots for him and be very selective in the three-pointers he shoots. So I think that the three-pointers will be there, and that's great for the Blazers offense.
I think both of you guys are spot on with what you guys were hoping to see and were able to see. To go a little less, I guess, one-dimensional, to focus just on one thing. The one thing that I wanted to see was Caleb Swanigan. I wanted to see how well he would do. He passed the test when it came to Summer League. He passed the test when it came to the preseason, and now we know that this is a guy that can be serviceable and will play minutes, who can contribute right out of the gate. So to see Caleb Swanigan and what he's been able to do, I think, was the big thing for me that I wanted to focus on. But I got to say, spot on. I mean, the three-point shooting is something that they need to have. If this team wants to be successful, they have to be able to shoot from distance. It's going to open things up, and maybe that helps having Yusuf Nurkic on the floor as much as they do this year.
I think you're there with every Blazers fan. I think for not every Blazers fan, but most Blazers fans out there, the biggest story of the preseason had to have been Caleb Swanigan.
Absolutely. And he has this kind of bulldog attitude that Blazers fans have fallen in love with, but he's also proven, in addition to that, he's got some game as well to go with it. And I mean, he's going to be one of the first guys coming off the bench, I expect, as the season begins. I think Evan Turner, him, and probably Ed Davis will probably be the first 3 guys you see off the bench. And so if you had told Blazers fans back when they drafted Caleb Swanigan, when hardly anyone knew anything about him, he's just the 26th pick in the NBA draft. If you had told them this guy's going to be your second or third guy off the bench, you're thrilled with that pick, and that's what they have right now.
Midway through the season last year, we were talking about just how screwed they were in their front court. there were no guys there. We were wondering, what are they going to do? Now there's this plethora. There's more guys here that can fill in, that can give you minutes than what they had before. Now we're deciding, dude, all of these guys could fill in at the 4 spot. We've got options now.
Not just midway through the season, but after Nurkic got hurt last year, they were having to play Al-Farouq Aminu at center. That's how destitute they were at big men, and now they have great big men. Do you remember during the draft when Swanigan was drafted? Blazers fans were not happy because Jordan Bell was still on the board.
Yeah, that's true.
And now Blazers fans love Swanigan. I'm sure they'd love to have Bell on the team too.
In a lot of ways, they do have some similar characteristics in terms of what they bring to the table.
Tough.
Yeah, Swanigan's probably a little bit better shooter as he's shown so far.
Yeah, and that was kind of a surprise too to see that. Let's move on to